Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast on the Prepper Broadcasting Network. We talk prepping, guns, and politics every week on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go check out our content at mwfpodcast.com on Facebook or Instagram. You can support us via Patreon or by checking out our affiliate partners. I'm your host, Phil Rabalais. Andrew and Nick are on the other side of the mic, and here's your show. Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast. My name's Phil, and Nick's digging something out of his hand.
Not anymore. I put the knife down.
Okay, thank you. I still contend a really, really strong magnet would fix that problem.
Not with 304 stainless.
Oh, well, that's your problem for messing around with a non-ferrous metal.
Yeah.
All right. I see Dr. Scary Guy in the comments. You're not here.
No, but I am.
You're doing a good job of not being there, I guess. Anyway, admin work. Little topic, and then other topic. They're probably both going to be little topics at the end of the day, because unfortunately, when it comes to a lot of these things, Nick and I kind of don't fight about it because we agree on most of these things. So that just tends to happen.
Well, we oopsed. We didn't get a combative co-host.
I mean, you could try to be devil's advocate, but it's going to be a stretch for you on this topic.
Yep. Except for maybe one movie.
Oh, I was talking about the other topic.
Oh, that one. Oh, that I can play devil's advocate on that one.
But it's going to be a bit of a reach.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. Anyway, admin work. If you are not already a patron, you can become a patron for $1 a month. You can support malfeasance, bad behavior, bad financial decisions, and this awful, unprofessional little podcast that some people find moderately amusing. Mm-hmm. And you can also participate in the MOF Secret Santa, which for almost everyone I'm aware of, I think everybody's pretty much got their stuff in the mailbox by now, except I know one person who's been very, very delinquent on getting their present purchased and mailed.
Oh, no.
And I'm not going to call them out. I'm just going to say that if you're watching this and you're a patron and you don't have a present on Christmas Day, I apologize, and I will personally, individually ream that person out.
Although travel distances may be a factor.
Well, nah, no excuses.
Nope.
Anyway, I've been told I should do capitalism harder. So code MOF at Disaster Coffee. Nick, I'm proud of you. You used the promo code.
I remembered the code, and my wife didn't have to tell me what it was.
Yes. So I do capitalism awfully, and because I have my email address built into the notification system for Disaster Coffee. When you place an order, I get a little notification that says so-and-so ordered stuff. And if you don't use the MOF promo code, I find out about that too. And usually I harass the person who didn't use the promo code. I don't know if that's a perk or a flaw in the system that you get individually harassed from a company owner about why didn't you save money on your order. But it's just the way things are going to be.
It's like dealing with Rebel. We can't get him to let us throw money at him.
Joe says, weather sucks here. You guys are in and out. Fortunately, you can watch this on YouTube or Rumble or Facebook later, and hopefully we'll be all the way in.
Hopefully. My internet is probably maybe crap, too. We're also having some wild weather. It was 47 degrees today, and it will be like -5 when I go to work in the morning.
That's just out of line.
Nah, it's just Midwestern winter. You know, we're having like, you can either call it first spring or third fall. That usually happens sometime between like our first foot of snow and Christmas. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Mountain Survival says, nice. Listening while training in the mountains. So now you have to be. Now, without ruining OPSEC, you have to tell us what kind of training you're doing. Because I'm curious. And because I can't train in the mountains without driving for like 5 hours.
Yeah, I have to drive even farther.
Joe just came in from a driveway brake job. I feel your pain. I spent last weekend doing a driveway front end rebuild. And I can tell you that these bruises are mostly healed at this point. Nice. And my back has mostly stopped hurting.
Well, I'm glad your back's not hurting. Fireless, no tent, just sleep system.
Huh.
You're in for a cold evening, sir.
Unless he has a really, really good sleep system.
I've had some pretty good sleep systems, and the wind in the ground just sucked that heat out of you.
Yeah, there is that. But at least you're on the ground, because my wife does get hammocks, because usually we don't have a problem with staying warm in tents. We have a problem with cool. But the first time I slept on a hammock overnight, it was an adjustment, because like I totally was not prepared for how fast I got cold in the evening.
Oh, absolutely. There's a reason why you see a lot of those guys packing full like down comforter quilts for on the bottom of them, not above.
Yeah.
It's amazing what that airflow does to you.
Yeah. All right, last but not least, if you like shirts, if you like merch, you should go check out the Southern Gals. The link's in the show description. There's the Raising Values product line and the MOF product line. They're both kind of...
Did your mic just cut out?
Hold 1 second, please.
All right. Well, while Phil goes and investigates what was probably a burglary, we're going to find out, as Mike will probably pick up any gunshots. Check out the gear over at Southern Gals Crafts. They've got some pretty sweet shirts. I was trying to guilt them into doing hats. Don't know where that ended up. Phil has not committed a murder based on the lack of gunshots. Phil, have you had to commit a murder?
No. My wife and daughter just got home. They were out, and the door apparently got away from one of them and slammed extremely hard. But that's not how it sounded through these. It sounded like somebody like cop knocking on the door. So
it did.
So I was kind of like, who's beating on my door at 7:30 at night? What's the problem here?
Yeah, that's never a good knock.
Yeah, but it wasn't that. It was wife and daughter coming home. So
good.
All's right in the world. Anyway, merch at the Southern Gals. Links in the show description. Shirts are cool. Cute, even. There is a "What Would Bert Do" shirt. If you don't know who Bert is, your childhood was awful, and I'm sorry.
Fix it, and then blame your parents.
Oh, definitely blame your parents. Send them to me, and I will instruct them in the ways of proper parenting. Or if you're a reasonably cool, like 30 to 45-year-old, you can just like come over, and I'll adopt you for an afternoon. We'll cover all of the movies you should have seen as a child.
You can't do that in one afternoon. The Mad Max series alone would take most of it.
We'll fast forward through them. And we're going to skip Beyond Thunderdome.
No, you cannot skip Beyond Thunderdome.
We are skipping Beyond Thunderdome. It is my least... We've had this discussion. It is my least favorite Mad Max film. Least favorite.
That's an unacceptable opinion.
And we're going to completely ignore Furiosa and act like that thing never happened.
I actually liked Furiosa. I liked it. It was what I wanted out of that movie.
Just good, clean fun.
Yeah, just irreverent car flipping and stupid stunts and well overbuilt vehicles. That's what I want out of Mad Max at this point. It's like being mad at physics not being right in the Fast and the Furious movies anymore. Look, next time they're going to be in space and somebody's going to get superpowers. And it'll be fine, and we'll all be okay with it, because the movies are not to be taken seriously.
Yeah. The only weird part about Fast and Furious, since you brought that series of movies up, is that you have to bear in mind that this started out as kind of a... the first 2 to 3 movies were really based heavily around a subculture that has a very, 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 very enthusiastic following.
Oh, yeah.
And so the first 2, arguably 3 films, there were people who were like, that's cool, because even though it's a little outlandish, it's about racing cars and that subculture, and then drifting in that subculture. And then it turned into a spy versus spy thing. And a lot of people who were originally on the ride were like, I want off the ride. This is no longer cool.
The ride is fantastic. It is wildly unreasonable. Yes, they have made too many of them. I will not stop watching.
I stopped watching. I stopped watching when they turned into heist films. So a while ago. Anyway, onto an argument. Not an argument you and I are going to have, but an argument that I have with my wife every single year when we have to talk about what to watch around Christmas time. Because every single year we have the conversation about what is and is not technically a Christmas movie.
Okay.
Now,
what's the one that starts this argument? I think I have one in mind.
Oh, it's always Die Hard.
It is okay, but always... you don't get more Christmas movie than Die Hard.
Okay.
It is a man forced to travel across the country to go to a holiday party that he doesn't want to be at and then gets dragged into a bunch of bullshit.
Yes. If you're looking for an argument with me, you're not going to get one because I'm on your side of this. But
I don't allow my wife to open Christmas presents until we've watched Die Hard.
I haven't figured out the secret sauce to winning that argument. I continue to lose the argument that Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie.
I've got her convinced. See, she admits it, even in the comments here. She cannot open Christmas gifts until she watches Die Hard. Hans Gruber must fall from Nakatomi Plaza, or we can't have Christmas.
Rachel, you and my wife need to hang out more.
They do.
Just putting it out there.
I just must be better at brainwashing than you are.
Possibly. Then again, Rachel's not Italian, is she?
No, not Italian.
That could be part of the difference. Sicilian ladies are definitely more hard-headed than most. Any man in these comments that is married to a Sicilian or Italian lady has got to back me up on this. They are a special breed. They do not back down. They have never...
You just have to be more stubborn than your wife. That's the key.
Well, I thought I was on a pretty good track until we started arguing over what was and was not a Christmas movie. I might have made my match.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, so yes, Die Hard is definitely a Christmas movie. I mean, obviously. Gremlins is too.
Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
How can it not be? It is set during Christmas.
It is. In a mall.
In a mall.
Or was that number 2?
No. I think
number one was in the mall.
Number 1 was in the mall. It was full of Christmas presents and stuff.
Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I got 2 more.
Bought the Gremlin for a Christmas gift, if I remember right.
Oh, was it? I haven't seen Gremlin.
I'm pretty sure it was a last-minute Christmas gift, and he didn't really pay attention to the old Chinese man that sold it to him.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a life lesson there about buying strange things from people without reading the disclaimer.
Look, buying strange things out of the back of a car at 2 in the morning in a Cabela's parking lot is how I got my folder AK back in the day.
Yeah.
It was entirely legitimate, I'm sure.
It didn't have the serial number scratched off of it, right?
It had a serial number. Look, I'm not required to do that level of due diligence. At least I wasn't at that time.
May or may not have been imported to the country through shady means after being in a conflict zone.
It was not full auto, and it had a serial number.
Okay. We will assume it was on the up and up.
I did.
All right. I got 2 more. Lethal Weapon.
Yes, also a Christmas movie.
Also a Christmas movie. Takes place during Christmas.
They have a fight in the middle of like a nativity scene at one point.
I know, Nick. Like I don't know how anyone makes this frivolous argument that these are not Christmas movies.
And doesn't Riggs save his partner's family on Christmas Eve? Or it's near about there.
I don't remember.
Because the family gets taken hostage by the terrorists at one point.
Yes, that definitely happens.
Mm-hmm.
I've got one more, and it's a wild card.
Okay.
So you know that I am a former weeb.
Mm-hmm.
Gundam Endless Waltz. Think about it. Rattle it around in your noggin for a second.
I'd have to watch it again. It's been at least 10 years.
It takes place on Christmas Eve.
It does take place on Christmas Eve.
It takes place on Christmas Eve because, like, everyone is on holiday. The minuscule Earth Defense Force has basically stood down because it's the holidays.
Because it's Christmas, and that's when they attack. Yeah. And they do save... Yeah. It's as much of a Christmas movie as Kiss Saves Santa.
Yep. And for anybody that's into Japanese animation and giant robots, like Gundam Endless Waltz, to me, it seems a little sacrilegious to recommend that anybody watch it before you watch Gundam Wing, like the whole series, because it kind of caps off that series. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Endless Waltz.
It's a quality standalone film.
You can watch it by itself as a standalone, and you're gonna miss out on a lot of the world building, the character building, and the arcs and all that. But it does stand on its own fairly well.
It does.
But if you watch it at the end of Gunless Waltz, the series, then it's cherry on top of the cake.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my list. And they are all Christmas movies. All of them. I'll never win that argument with my wife, but they are.
Well, you don't have to win the argument with your wife because you're correct. It's not an argument. She's just wrong.
Mountain Survival 1 saying the Iron Giant.
It is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. I totally overlooked that one.
And then what was? Oh shoot! There was another one that popped into my head just now. I lost it.
Hold on. There were a couple you texted me, and I knew we were gonna forget them if we didn't write them down.
And I think I left my phone upstairs. Otherwise, I would look at what I texted you.
Damn it, Nick.
I know. I only had half a cup of coffee before we started this show. Probably should have went with the full cup of coffee. Huh.
I don't know. You think, and I'll...
God. I had a good one, too. I don't know if I texted it to you. Oh, that was it, Joe. First Blood Part 1. Rambo First Blood Part 1.
Oh, that is a Christmas movie.
Takes place during Christmas. They have a gunfight amidst a bunch of Christmas decorations. Yes. Thank you, Joe. You got me.
I know what one...
That was the one I did not text you.
Okay. There was another one you mentioned. Violent Night, was it?
Oh, Violent Night, that's explicitly a Christmas movie because Santa saves a family from terrorists.
I just found it. Santa saves a family from terrorists?
Yeah, Violent Night.
Is it slapstick Schlotsky, or is it like kind of played serious?
No, it's played serious. So do you know?
Wait,
Saint Nicholas was a Scandinavian,
as serious as Santa saving a family from terrorists can be,
with a sledgehammer. Yeah.
Okay.
Just at one point, he takes off his jacket, and he is just jacked and loaded with Scandinavian tattoo artwork, like Viking style artwork. And the backstory of him in this, and somewhat in reality, St. Nicholas was a Scandinavian, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I've heard a couple different people mention that he may or may not have been involved in raiding.
I'll allow it.
Before he became a Christian and revised everything. Well, in this movie, that is the historical accurate portrayal of St. Nicholas. He was a Viking, and he killed lots and lots of people, and he became a Christian and tried to
clean up his act.
Clean up his act and tried to do good for the world. Well, this little girl asks Santa over her toy radio to save her family. And he just goes absolutely ham beating these terrorists to death with a sledgehammer. It's fantastic.
I might have to add that to my list because that sounds amazing.
It's great. It's everything you want from an elderly man with a beard beating people with a sledgehammer.
It sounds like Sisu in a Santa suit. Did you watch that movie?
I don't think I have.
You should. It is okay.
Sisu.
Yeah. So it's is it? I want to say it's set in Finland, very end of World War II, as the Nazis are evacuating.
Oh, sure.
And apparently, this just haggard, ratchet old man is like he's mining in his little mining plot, finds this huge nugget of gold. Well, the Nazis try to take it from him and kill him, not realizing that he is a former commando, and he proceeds to just buzzsaw through every freaking Nazi from where he stands to the border.
That's awesome.
It is like I swear to God, it's like Robert Rodriguez just directed this whole thing start to finish. It's like a one-man Inglourious Bastards in Finland.
That's fantastic.
It is ridiculous. There's a sequel that I haven't seen yet, but the original was amazing. It's ridiculous. It's hilarious. It's ridiculous.
We got some good ones in the comments here.
Yeah.
Joe had that one.
Yeah.
Raggle, the Star Wars Christmas special. If you have a physical or digital copy of that, I will pay good money for that. Because George Lucas wants that to never see the light of day again. He tried to destroy all the copies. Some do exist. I've been trying to find one for a long time.
I don't think I've
to seed as wide as possible.
I don't think I've ever even heard of this.
Oh, it was bad. It was epically bad. It was so bad that George Lucas attempted to buy all of the copies that were made and destroy them.
Interesting. Now I'm even more intrigued. Yes, Joe, we did get First Blood.
That's who reminded me of it.
Okay. Back to the Future. Did that take place during Christmas?
Let's watch it again.
Mountain Survival. You're gonna have to remind us because I'm not seeing the connection. But it's been a hot minute.
I know it took place in winter, but I don't remember if it was near about Christmas.
I don't recall that part. Invasion USA.
Haven't seen that one.
Drawing a total blank on this one. Trading Places. This is probably
the girls did meet on a Christmas trip, didn't they?
This is probably the kind of cutesy thing my wife would actually like green light me watching, and it'd make me die a little inside. Violent Night is a good movie. Rachel, please tell your friend over here in Louisiana, and we will add that to the Christmas list.
Mm-hmm. I don't know which one Raggle is referencing, if it was Trading Places or the Star Wars Christmas special, because there is, at the very least, Wookiee sex in the Star Wars Christmas special. I don't know if that's considered nudity or not.
I have so many more questions than I started with.
I have to have a copy of that so I can make digital copies and spread it throughout the internet to ruin George Lucas's destruction of it.
Invasion USA, Chuck Norris, the mall he drives through has Christmas decorations. Okay, that I'll allow it.
Okay, yes. If Christmas decorations are up in the movie, it's basically a Christmas movie.
Oh, and the other thing,
Blues Brothers doesn't make the list. There was no Christmas decorations up in the mall.
The other one you mentioned in the text, and you forgot about it, Home Alone.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, that's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raggle Fraggle saying no, Trading Places.
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I haven't watched that since I have no idea when the last time I watched that was. Not often. But yeah, Home Alone's a good one. I mean, it teaches a very important life lesson of don't tell people when you're going out of town so they know to rob your house.
It also teaches multiple methods of hardening your home. Mm-hmm. I mean, not quite on the level of like talking to your quiet Vietnamese neighbor about how to make punji sticks and everything, but approaching that.
Look, if you put slippery things on stairs and people don't know they're there, oops. I mean, I don't know if I would put a grill starter on my door handle because my front door is made of wood. I could see that going badly.
The blowtorch attached to the door frame, though, is by far my favorite.
That's pretty clever. That would be, if I recall correctly, a felony, booby trapping. In fact, most of those things are a felony.
What about tarring and feathering?
That's just good fun.
Okay, we have come to a decision.
It's a historical tradition.
Tarring and feathering is traditional and hilarious.
It is, so long as you're not the one being tarred and feathered.
I don't expect to be the one tarred and feathered. I expect to be the one doing the tarring and feathering.
Well, then it's fun.
All right, on to topic. Now, I was cruising the internets, and I just happened to cross Jelly Roll, of all people, on the Joe Rogan Experience, talking about how he's trying to get his gun rights restored. Mm-hmm. Now, in the name of full disclosure, Jelly Roll is a convicted felon, and he is currently trying to go down that narrow little path to redemption to get his gun rights restored. Which I told Nick, I'm like, I feel like this could be something we could chop up a little bit because I feel like amongst our audience, there's probably not going to be a whole lot of diversity in thought, but amongst like the gun community, there is a lot of diversity in thought about this subject.
There is less so with the younger crowd than
define younger.
Generally, the only people I seeing, and this is obviously a very limited anecdotal experience, all the caveats, the people that I see defending felons being entirely restricted from having their gun rights restored are people that I would say are over 60 currently. Now, that's not to say everybody over 60 thinks that way, but I don't see anyone in, like, I would say my age class plus minus 10 years in the gun community saying that felons shouldn't have the right to firearms. In fact, most of them hold an opinion that I think you share, Phil, that if these people are safe to release from prison and be among the general population, why can they not own a weapon?
Yeah, and I mean,
you've released them from prison.
And, you know, I know that opinion sounds kind of flippant, but that kind of is the crux of my argument is like, so it is worth pointing out that, like, I have my opinions about the things we criminalize in this country and about some of the penalties levied based on what I consider to be pretty superficial offenses. But all that being what it is, I look at things very simply in terms of if you, the state, are alleging that this person is so dangerous that we have to lock them up like an animal for a period of time. And I'm not saying they don't, because there's some people out there doing really dumb stuff. They don't need to be amongst these people.
True.
But then you let them out. And I assume if you're letting them out, it's not because you ran out of room in prison, even though that tends to be what happened.
That's usually why they get let out. Well, at least in my state, a lot of them are let out for that reason.
Yeah, well, I think that's a pretty stupid reason to let violent, dangerous people out of prison, but that's just, you know, me thinking out loud. But I tend to think that if you let a person out, you are making a de facto statement that this person is now safe to walk around the streets with my wife and my 13-year-old daughter.
I mean,
if you're not,
there's no prohibition to them owning a vehicle.
Or a pressure
You can
cooker.
kill a person with a car just as easily.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not barred from hardware stores.
Yeah, and let's call it what it is. Like, every major metro area is filled with felons that have ready access to firearms. So, like,
oh
yeah, here's me in a nutshell. If a law is not deterring bad behavior, there's one of two problems. 2, or is that 3? Let's start with 2. There's one of two problems. Either A, the penalty is nowhere near severe enough.
Okay.
So I take speeding as the perfect example. Why do most people speed?
Because they don't think they'll get caught. And if they do, it's not that big of a deal.
So 3 problems. A, there's a lack of consequences. B, there's a generalized opinion that the offense is not a severe offense. This is like something we've talked about in the past, where we talk about there's a legal precedent, there's a legal principle called mala prohibite and mala in se, meaning this is bad because I say it's bad, and this is bad because it's like more obviously morally bad.
Right.
You know, like murdering a person is mala in se.
Universally preferable behavior.
Yeah. Mala in se means this is obviously bad. It is inherently bad. It's an evil act. Mala prohibita is like speeding, because most people say, I mean, I'm only going 5 over. What's the big deal? So there's 3 reasons why people speed a lot. They don't think they're going to get caught. If they do get caught, they're not apologetic for it. And if they get caught, they basically, I mean, I literally have told people before, I'm like, getting a speeding ticket is like paying your road tax. Today was your day to pay the road tax. Tomorrow's going to be somebody else's. Like, that's the cost of driving, is you get nick for speeding every now and then. But here's the thing, Nick. What would we have to change to make people stop speeding? We got 3. We got 3 legs on this stool.
Well, you would definitely have to increase the penalty, and you would have to increase the likelihood of getting caught.
So if we make the penalty for speeding death, do you think that would have, as extreme of an example as that is, do you think that would have a marked a marked effect on people's behavior, because like 1 mile an hour over is like the little dude with the glasses and the general's outfit, the meme that says, straight to prison, put to death.
It would probably eliminate some of the people, yeah.
Okay. If we could somehow convince the population that speeding was an inherently evil act.
Sure.
Or if we put a cop on every single street corner so you can't put a toe over the line without getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
Change one of those three things and the behavior will stop. So when I look
it will at least change a percentage of it.
Yes. You're never going to make the percentage go to zero.
Right.
But you change one of those three things and you change the behavior of the populace. Now,
yeah, it changes the calculus that goes on in a person's head.
Yeah. So when I look at people that commit violent crimes,
mm-hmm.
and you release them from prison, mm-hmm. you're telling me that they're safe to be in public now. And if they're not, then you shouldn't freaking release them. You should keep their butt in jail. I don't believe in rehabilitation, by the way. Like, the recidivism rate kind of is on my side of that argument.
Yeah. And I think part of the issue behind the recidivism rate is the reduction in civil liberties and the reduction in hiring abilities. Because there's actually quite a few industries where if you do anything with the federal government, I don't know about anything, but most things with the federal government, you're not allowed to hire felons.
If you do anything contracting for the federal government, any felonies is off the table.
Yeah. I mean, we can't hire anyone with a felony at work because we occasionally work on stuff that is ITAR controlled.
Yeah. And the problem becomes...
And some of it is government work.
Yeah, and it's not just government. I mean, it's federal government, state governments, law enforcement, like anything where you have to background check your employees, thou shalt not hire a felon, period, in discussion, because you will not get that. And it's even more than that. I'm sure you're familiar with the TWIC, TWIC card, right? Like if you want to go work at like an oil refinery or a major plant or something.
Yes. The ID card system.
Very common down here. Good luck trying to get one with a felony on your record.
Oh yeah, you're just straight not getting one.
I'm not saying impossible. I am saying good luck.
You'd have better chance getting your firearms rights restored than you would have of getting one of those federal ID cards for secured access.
Yeah. And that's all. We're still in the realm of like government being involved in this. Even large private companies like Walmart, Amazon are going to be hesitant to allow you into their secure facilities where they badge people in and out if you have a marked history. Like, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Yeah. And part of that is, I think, insurance companies.
Oh, insurance companies.
Because they're seen as a higher risk.
Yeah. And I mean, it's hard to argue against that.
And realistically, if a company is talking to their insurance broker and they're like, well, if you hire these people, your insurance rates go up. They're just going to favor applicants that do not have that. 100%. So while there's no strict prohibition against employing someone with a felony record, they're not going to, because it would be cripplingly expensive when their insurance rates double.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, that is the way I view a lot of that situation, is that if we're going to allow a person out of prison, you got to certify to me and to the general public that person is safe to be amongst the public. And if they're safe to walk the streets with women and kids, then I have to ask the question as a thinking person, like, what is our justification for creating this two-tiered system where these people, they have some rights, but not all the rights. They can't vote. They can't own firearms. They have this thing hanging over their head that makes employment almost impossible to ever get back into the middle class. And I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying, why are they out of prison if they're so dangerous? We have to preclude them from all these other things.
Sentencing guidelines, largely.
Not an argument to me.
Oh no, I'm just saying the practicality behind it is that there are maximum and minimum sentences for various crimes. And regardless of if the person should still be in prison because they are a danger to the public, the maximum sentence has been decided, and the judge cannot keep them any longer than that.
Yeah. And when did all this start, Nick?
1960s, I'm guessing.
1968 Gun Control Act.
We should get rid of that, just like the whole thing.
Yeah, like 68 Gun Control Act, NFA,
Hughes
Amendment. Yeah, I know. We're right back where we started with bitching about gun laws. But the truth of the matter is like, so let's unpack this for a second. Prior to 1968, you could legally have a firearm shipped to your home address blind with no signature, with no background check, with no transfers, nothing. Just ship me a gun. Matter of fact, I
could do machine guns, I believe, at that point too.
I was about to say, at that point, you could legally have a machine. You could literally have a Tommy gun or an M16 shipped to your front doorstep. And it's weird to talk about this in this guise when we talk about like historical events and we compare it to today in 2025, where like in order for me, an upstanding tax-paying combat veteran with a squeaky clean background check who can walk into government facilities and who used to work at international airports. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that like I have a background.
It's the reality of the situation.
I have a background that is sterile because of the jobs I've held, the things I've done. I had to be on the straight and narrow at all times. In my current job, if I get too much into arrears in federal taxes, I can have my access pulled. Like it's that,
and that makes sense.
It makes total sense when you think about the millions of dollars that traverse my office every day.
Oh yeah.
But it really just comes down to like in 2025, in order for me to go purchase a firearm, I have to go to my local gun shop, fill out paperwork, and ask the FBI for permission to do that. But in 1967, I could open up a catalog and have a freaking anti-tank rifle mailed to my front door. And it makes no sense to me on earth how we got from A to B, except that somebody in 1968 got enough votes together and scared the hell out of people and convinced them this was a great idea.
Well, the Black Panthers were the cause behind that. Racism was the cause behind the Gun Control Act of 1968. How
inconvenient to bring that back up. How many people do you think we have to get screaming gun control is racist before they'll actually start overturning those laws?
Oh, they absolutely won't. They just won't, because it's not convenient to their narrative. They'll just disregard the argument entirely.
Outstanding. But anyway,
it's the same thing they did with Ben Carson when he was running for office. They called him the black face of white supremacy.
I do remember that now.
A doctor, a highly intelligent, if I recall correctly, neurosurgeon
who grew up in public housing, single mother, worked two jobs to put him through
the greatest of success stories.
Yeah.
Black face of white supremacy. Because he did something good with his life.
How dare he?
How dare he succeed?
But yeah, the GCA is the reason why felons can't have guns. That and just generational idioms and stupidity, I guess, at this point. Because like every time I ask a real serious question about why, I don't feel like I'm getting many good answers.
Because California Republicans got scared by the Black Panthers protesting in California, and Ronald Reagan passed some of the first gun control acts in California as governor. Yes, Ronald Reagan is to blame for a lot of things.
I told somebody recently, I was having this conversation, and they were on a hate parade about Republicans. And I was like, the funny part of this is that you hate Donald Trump, and you hate George H.W. Bush and George Bush and Ronald Reagan. You hate all those people because they're Republicans. And I dislike all of them strongly for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look at every politician as they're just waiting in the wings for an opportunity to screw us out of a few more of our rights.
Oh, they absolutely are. Because the only people that go into high political office are people that are looking for power. And the only way they get more power is by taking it away from the people.
Raggle Fraggle saying, I thought the guy running for California governor got that title. Larry Elder.
Yeah, he did as well. Pretty much any time an educated black individual runs for public office and they're not on the DNC's side, they call them a black face of white supremacy, or
Uncle
Tom,
seems
or a
very
number
popular.
of other pejoratives that seem wildly inappropriate.
That's because they are wildly inappropriate, Nick.
Yeah. I don't know. What can you do? Democrats hate anyone that don't agree with them. That's their platform. They are for good thing, therefore you are bad thing. And it doesn't matter who you are, what good you've done, how successful you are, where you came from. You could be their perfect target demographic, but the second you dissent from them, you are evil.
That sounds like Marxism, Nick.
Well, that's because it is.
That's
because it's social collectivism and postmodern theory, where they're allowed to lie so long as it gains them power, because morality is irrelevant.
Thanks for reminding me of that.
You're welcome. That's why you can't trust them.
So why don't felons ever get their guns back? Or will they?
They should.
Well, I brought this up to Nick's attention. This article is from May of last year. Nonviolent felons can own firearms after release from prison. Appeals court rules. The Ninth Mother effing Circuit ruled this, which surprised me.
But it was because California got extra dumb.
California did get extra dumb. But I just have to read this. Our own analysis of the Second Amendment's publicly understood meaning also confirms that the right to keep and bear arms was every citizen's fundamental right. The majority opinion read. Because Duarte is an American citizen, he is part of the people whom the Second Amendment protects. Now,
do it with assault weapons.
Do it with machine guns. Do it with 50 cals. Do it with Glocks, with auto Glocks with switches. Just do it everywhere. But the point is,
I mean, they kind of just rephrased the Second Amendment there.
They kind of just
confirms the right to keep and bear arms for every citizen.
Yeah, because
is it an arm that you can bear?
Is person A an American citizen? Then they are part of the people to whom the Second Amendment protects to have arms.
Now, I could see an argument that felons are not full citizens. And that's the argument that they're going to make. That felons are not full citizens because they cannot vote, because they are felons. I think that argument is deeply flawed, and on its basis is false. They are still citizens. They're just attempting to make them into second-class citizens, which is unacceptable.
Yeah, and see, Stuart and I have argued this back and forth on numerous occasions. And Stuart, if you're listening, like you frustrate the crap out of me sometimes, but I really do enjoy when you argue with me, because I need that occasionally.
Well, he makes our arguments better by forcing us to think. That's the fantastic thing about him. He's a wildly intelligent individual.
Yes, and he was raised by two lawyers. And it's very obvious. Worst.
Oh, yeah. It's literally the worst.
Yes. Okay, so have you ever met a person that will argue over the minutia of a word that was used just to be a pedantic bastard?
Oh, yeah.
I got a buddy like that. Stuart's not a pedantic bastard, but he grew up in a household where words have legal meanings and are codified. And because of that, you have to say exactly, precisely what you mean, or he's going to call you for it. And
define your terms in exacting detail.
Yes. So there might have been once or twice I wanted to yeet my phone across the road, but for the most part, he's not wrong.
Like, dude, I fired off a comment while pooping at work, and this was not meant to be a dissertation.
Yes. but you fired off a comment while pooping at work, so that's what you kind of
Stuart read it. The problem was Stuart read it.
Yeah. But like I was saying, so this is one of those things where, like, when I say I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, Nick, you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying. Morgan understands what I'm saying. Raggle Fraggle. Everyone in the chat, Joe, everybody understands what I say when I mean I am a Second Amendment absolutist. Everyone except Stuart. Because Stuart says absolute must be absolute, and you don't really mean absolute, Phil, because this, and this. And it drives me bananas. because
I think it's a fair point, though. It's a point that needs to be brought up.
okay, but just give me this rope for a second. It's
Mm-hmm.
not knowing me and knowing that I have a creative penchant for finding modern solutions to modern problems. When I
Right.
say Second Amendment absolutist, I am not above taking violent felons, putting them on an island, and giving them all the guns they want, and just letting nature take its course.
You mean basically Haiti currently?
Well, I was actually referring to Escape from New York, but
Oh,
or was it Fortress or the Island? The Island with
yeah.
Ray
You
Liotta.
could do you could do the island.
Yeah. Point
I
remain.
mean, if there are people that are not safe to have among regular society, then they must be removed permanently from society.
Yes, and they can have all the guns they want. They can yeet each other to
Sure.
death. I don't care. They're let nature take its course. Violent people do violence to each other. Way over there, away from
Yeah.
everybody else. Anyway,
Right. I mean, that's what we used to do until we ran out of room to stick them places. Look at Australia and how that turned out.
oh God Almighty, they're still acting like a penal colony to this day.
Yeah, they're the most developed country that imposed actual concentration camps during the COVID pandemic.
I was referring.
Good job, Australia.
I was referring to the fact that their government acts like wardens and jailers towards their own people. But anyway,
Well, that too.
so yes, Stewart's argument is that if I say Second Amendment absolutist, then a person still has their gun rights when they're in prison. Okay, I give you that at that. It's maybe absolute's a bad word, but what I do mean is that if when we release a person from prison, I believe your rights should be restored, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
if the public outcry is this person is not safe to have their guns and their voting rights and all this and the other, then that public outcry is you have to keep that person in jail. Now, I say that in the same breath that I say, I don't think the government's really listening to the people very well right now. So
They
you
can't.
know.
They can't hear them over the sound of all those lobbyist dollars flying through the window.
Thank you, Nick.
Well, it's just the realistic situation.
I
I mean,
changed.
until you get lobbying out of politics, you're never going to get popular support swaying any kind of legal anything.
I changed your tagline from "Disappointer of Phil" to Santa's Little Helper for this.
I'm
one
earning my tagline back.
Yes, I'll change it back next time. But in any case, on the back of all this discussion about the Gun Control Act and all the federal restrictions on felons getting their being able to exercise their Second Amendment rights, there's also 39 states that have an extra layer of bull crap precluding felons from getting guns, just in case the federal government reverses their position.
Well, it is
Mine's one of
easy to get a state legislature. Ooh, I'm pretty sure mine is too. We actually are also, I think, one of the few states that have you've got your federal firearms license, right? So you can trade guns in any state, right?
Except Illinois.
Not Illinois. You have to have an Illinois firearms dealer's license now, too.
Nick, I don't need any more reasons to not like your state. No offense.
I need more.
You need more?
Yep.
Need.
I want this place. I want to see this place an empty desert. I want to see no one living here because it's such a terrible place to be because of all the stupidity coming out of Chicago and Springfield. Because maybe then it will wake people up to what these stupid policies actually accomplish.
I keep hoping for the same thing, but then we keep finding a new lower limit.
Well, we'll find out. I'm convinced that Pritzker's due for a federal indictment on some level of corruption charge. It's coming. I mean, Phil, I sent you that article a while back, or that YouTube video. So an average of one Illinois politician a week over the last 100 years has been indicted for corruption.
Yes, but the problem is who's waiting in the wings behind Pritzker?
Well, let's see. Madigan's in jail or on his way to jail. So I'm not sure.
The answer is
probably another Chicago politician.
Another equally scummy Chicago politician. Look, it's like when people run to be a politician in New Orleans. It ain't like it's going to get any better.
This is accurate. I was here first. Y'all need to get the fuck out of my town and off my goddamn road.
I'll allow it. I'm telling you, my ultimate goal is to smooth talk Rachel into moving out of Illinois to someplace that me and Gillian can also tolerate. Because I know that if I get her, I got this game in motion.
Oh, yeah, it'd be pretty easy. And then I will build a machine shop wherever I go, and I will make nifty things that Phil can play with.
So I run the business, the front office, and the product testing. In other words,
sure.
I like
that. As long as I get to play with my CNC machines, I don't care.
I mean,
I like playing with my machines.
I might also want to learn to play with the machines.
It's really not that difficult. Well, okay. Doing it well and doing it consistently is the difficult part. Getting it to do the go, very easy.
This sounds like my argument about roasting coffee, where I'm like, roasting a single batch of coffee to a remotely drinkable, level, that's easy. Roasting 100 pounds of coffee so that every bean is exactly like the others, that's tricky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway. You could probably pretty easily learn CNC. It's not that complicated. The difficulty is in the variety of materials and cutting conditions, so that you can anticipate what the things are going to do. That's where the art of it comes in.
It's fair.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And now here's where I have no direct experience, but a little bit of secondhand experience. The path forward to having your gun rights restored as a felon. It's a difficult one.
And expensive.
I actually have some family members who, non-violent felons, thankfully, but they have a felony on the record, and they are like actively in the process here in Louisiana of trying to get their gun rights restored, at least at the state level.
Sure.
And it has been a years-long process, and it will.
I've heard 5 to 10.
I think what I heard was 7, but I could be totally just.
So I'm not far off with that. Yeah.
Well, but back to the tagline that I deleted. Like 39 states have an individual state prohibition, which means that there's 39 different versions of how to have your gun rights stored at the state level. What Jelly Roll is going through right now is that he has actually had his so he has had his gun rights restored at the state level in Tennessee. But but in order to have his gun rights restored at the federal level, he has to get a pardon from the president. Now, he's high profile enough, has enough money, has enough notoriety, he might actually be able to pull that.
Given how much Trump loves to see his own name on things. Yeah.
But my gripe is that for the average Joe, for the you and me, not gonna happen. And that's a lot of my frustration with this whole discussion about felons not having their gun rights restored, is that like I can't in my mind justify why people are being released from prison if they're still violent and they're still a danger. If they're not violent and a dangerous society, I can't justify them not getting their gun rights back just out of hand. Like the day your sneakers touch free pavement, you're good.
Yeah.
And if we can't tolerate that as a society, I can't figure out why this process takes 7 to 10 years and costs tens of thousands of dollars for something that the average person just takes for granted.
Well, I see. The argument I hear from people is that in committing whatever offense, you made the affirmative choice that if you get caught and you get convicted, that you lose these rights. And that is the argument that I have heard from the older gun crowd about it. So that they made the affirmative choice to risk those rights.
Are you familiar with...
It's a you reap what you sow argument.
Are you familiar with the libertarian argument that the average person commits like 3 felonies and God knows how many misdemeanors over the course of their life and doesn't even realize it?
Oh, gosh, yes. I'm sure that in my state alone, the average person commits a felony a month based on how Illinois classifies things.
And also, because, not to throw shade at my father, because that's not the point, but my dad and I have had this debate very, very spiritedly. Respectfully, I love my father, I respect the hell out of him, but very spiritedly, we've had this debate. And his 2 primary points, from what I recall, A, was that like we don't want the wrong people to have firearms, to which I pointed out,
sure.
I'm like, yeah, but turn on the 6 o'clock news. The wrong people have got guns every damn day. So
it's not like they're difficult to make or import.
Or or
under the
just
radar.
steal.
I mean,
that's what happens with most of them. They get stolen out of cars, they get stolen out of houses, they get sold on the black market. I mean, like
stolen out of gun shops.
Yeah.
Heck, you see it every once in a while around Chicago. They ram a van through the front door of the gun shop, go in with power tools, cut through all the cables and all the locks, and just walk out with truckloads of firearms.
Yep.
Happens all the time. Not all the time, but it happens fairly regularly.
It happens often enough that it's not out of pocket. But that was kind of my first assailment was the wrong people have guns already. So this isn't stopping any of that. It's not slowing it down much.
And if you're a felon and you've lost your official gun rights already, why shouldn't you just break the law more to have them? You're already in the shittest position other than being in prison. You no longer have a downside other than additional prison time.
Yeah. And the other I'm trying to remember exactly how this was phrased because I don't want to mischaracterize him.
Maybe we should get him on.
I have actually asked my father multiple times over the last 9 years. He has politely declined multiple times. Which is fair. He's a very private person, and I don't think he ever wants to put like. I think he would be deeply uncomfortable doing what I do on the internet every day, where there's like all this back history that anyone can ever look up and say, "Oh, Phil thinks things that are out of pocket," which I understand. Yeah. The difference between me and him is I don't have a real firm appreciation for consequences, apparently, because I'm just like, I believe what I believe. Sue me.
Yeah, I believe what I believe. Those beliefs may evolve throughout time. Congratulations, I'm a thinking being.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't recall exactly what the other argument was. It'll come to me 5 seconds after we hang up. I know it'll come to me. But,
that's all.
But my dad and I, we debated this up one side, down the next. And at the end of the day, I just keep coming back around to that basic premise of if a person's safe enough to be in society and walk up and down the street with my wife and daughter, then why are we creating a two-tiered society where people are not allowed to have the basic rights and protections under the law that people do? To me, I look at it in the same vein as like, is there any other right we would preclude from this person? Like, do you no longer, for the rest of your life, do you lose your Fifth Amendment right, your Sixth Amendment right? Do you lose your right to jury trial? Do you lose your right to be secure in your person against unlawful search and seizure? Do you lose your right not to have not to have soldiers quartered in your home? Do you lose your right to protest the government because you were once a felon a long time ago? There's no other right under the law that is stripped from you as enthusiastically and as totally as the Second Amendment because you're a felon. But this one thing, just like every other time we have this argument about this one right seems to be the redheaded stepchild, this one thing can be taken away from these people so completely and totally with no path to ever have it brought back to them. And I just can't accept that.
No, it strikes me as a moral wrong. Because look, we've assigned a penalty for the crime that they have committed. They have fulfilled that penalty, and therefore so Phil, I don't know how much time you have spent observing like courtrooms and whatnot.
Not a ton, but a bit.
So there is a phrase you hear sometimes from judges. You no longer have any obligation to the state of blah, 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 whatever state it is, when they release you from prison. Okay. If you no longer have the obligation to the state to repay the crime you have committed,
then why are you still getting the consequences?
You no longer have any obligation. Right, exactly. The consequences should be done. We've decided that this is the penalty. You have paid the penalty, whether it's financial, loss of time, loss of privileges for a certain amount of time, whatever. There needs to be an end date to that penalty. It cannot be a lifelong penalty. Unless you've done something so bad that we've decided that the ultimate penalty is the death penalty. Well, I have a hard time with that because I don't trust the government to do their job correctly.
And see, this is the other side of why I get squeamish about this subject. every time we have a discussion about how the state gets to decide who does and does not get to challenge their monopoly on violence, this sounds really similar to like the state investigated the state and determined that the state did no wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yep.
I try to operate. So since you brought up morality a second ago, like whenever I'm debating law or legal principles, I try really hard to veer away from morality as a standpoint. Not because I don't believe that the law and morality should mostly agree with each other, but because to me, morality gets murky. Because you're talking about a subject that each individual person has their own definition of morality. I mean, there's large cultural cross sections that are common, but it's not universal, which is why I tend to go back to the idea. Tend to try to go back to base principles like if you are usurping a person's rights, their rights to their personhood, their rights to their free agency, if you're taking away a person's property, all those things, then we've obviously committed a crime.
Sure.
And whenever...
So the government is committing a crime against felons.
Kind of the way I see it, honestly. I mean...
They're infringing on their civil liberties without due cause.
Yeah. And like I said, name me one other right that we restrict from felons for life. Name me one other right we restrict from like even not even felons, but just for a misdemeanor crime. Name me one other right that people are trying to take away from these people for life. If a felon has a right to vote, if they have a right to own property, if they have a right to protest, if they have all the rights we have except this one.
Well, I don't think they have the right to vote, do they? I'm pretty sure that's stripped.
But that's not a constitutional right.
I know Illinois is trying to bring back felons' right to vote in Illinois elections.
But that's not that's not a constitutional right. This is a weird argument too, because like you don't have a right under the Constitution to vote. The ability to vote is a procedural legal thing. Think about it. Where do we derive the right to vote for our elected officials? It's not federal. Your elections are handled at the state level.
That's true.
So it is your state that grants you, not you have, grants you the right to vote for your elected official. And every state deals with elections their own way.
It's true.
So
some of them stupider than others.
Most varying degrees of stupid. But the point remains, not federal, not a constitutional right, nowhere within our Bill of Rights or our Constitution. There is mention made of how we should be able to elect or to select who our government will be, but nothing as simple as voting. Nothing is codified.
Interesting. I suppose I've never really evaluated it from that perspective before. Because I know in my state, felons, at least I don't know about now, but in the past, were not eligible.
I'd have to go back and look it up because honestly, I've never been a felon.
That was one of Pritzker's big tiffs about Trump being on the Illinois ballot. They were trying to remove him from the ballot because he's a felon, and felons in Illinois can't vote. And they were arguing that if you can't vote, you can't be on the ballot. But there is no provision in Illinois that says if you can't vote, you can't be on the ballot, because we've had a number of mayors with largely felony drug possession charges.
Well.
Yeah, it's real popular. Coke was real popular with the mayors for a while there.
So I did lead into this telling you that we probably were going to agree more than disagree.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And I think that's because we both come at this from a similar perspective of the right to bear arms is not so much the right to firearms as it is the right to defending oneself and one's property and one's family.
I agree.
And that is the best tool for the job currently.
So I don't disagree with any of that. But to me, the Second Amendment is something very different.
Sure, but I think what it's derived from is that right to defending oneself.
From
and the requirement from anything, anyone. Doesn't matter.
That's fair.
government included.
And that, to me, that is the key, though. Like years ago, and by the way, for anybody that gives a damn, MOFpodcast.com, there's actually a thing in there about articles. I wrote a bunch of them. I did a little bit of blogging here on there on the website. I actually might pick it back up eventually one day when I get a writing bug, which I do occasionally. But anyway, but I wrote an article forever ago that I'm pretty sure is still on the website, and I described the Second Amendment as a thinly veiled threat.
Oh, it absolutely is.
So bearing in mind the historical context of what led to the Second Amendment, there was no worry about the common man being able to defend himself, because at this period in pre-Revolutionary War colonial history, literally every freaking household had a musket over the mantle. Like,
at minimum one.
Guns were not just common, they were ubiquitous. I mean, you would hunt with them, you defend.
And if you didn't have a gun, you had a hunting knife, a tomahawk, or
all of the above.
Yeah, usually all of the above.
But the point remains is that the idea that we need to codify a person's right to have a gun in case someone tries to hurt their family, that was not on Ben Franklin and George Washington's radar, because that was like, everybody's already got guns for that purpose. The reason why they codified the Second Amendment was because the freaking British literally tried to take their cannons and their powder to strip them of the ability to protest and fight against a tyrannical government. That is the reason for the Second Amendment. It's not hunting. It's not defending yourself from Johnny B. Gangbanger down the street. It's not in case the Mexicans invade or the Chinese paratroop in your backyard. I'm not saying those things are out of pocket. I'm just saying that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it is literally, if the government ever does crazy stuff, there's 300 and something million people and enough guns to arm the entire country 3 times over. You cannot suppress a population with that level of armament. It's not possible.
Nope.
And that is what the Second Amendment is. The Second Amendment is a panic button. It is in case of glass, break. Or in case of emergency, break glass. It is
it's a safety written by violent revolutionaries.
It is a reset button. And the beautiful part of it is that you don't necessarily have to press the reset button to get the government to behave themselves. You just have to have it.
Well, look at what country didn't build concentration camps during COVID.
Look what country
did.
Look at
which one did.
Yeah. Countries. China.
Yeah.
China's
had concentration camps for the last 60 years.
Yeah. I saw they were welding people's doors shut during COVID to enforce quarantines.
They weld people's doors shut when it rains too much over there. They're always putting camps and concentration together. Look,
it's what they do.
You have a communist government. It's a collectivist totalitarian regime. You as the individual are irrelevant as long as the collective survives. And the collective doesn't have to include you.
This is all true.
This is the problem with collectivist ideologies.
There was a word I was searching for, and I'm not finding it.
Oh, no. To the Scrabble board.
It's what happens when you're like, the end always justifies the means. It's not collectivist. It's something else. It's another ist.
Moral relativist.
I'll think of it as
consequentialist.
I'll think of it.
It's consequentialist.
I'll think of it as soon as we hang up. That's annoying.
I'm pretty sure it's consequentialist.
It's not that. It's not ringing a bell. It doesn't matter.
Damn
anyway,
it.
Point remains. I think nonviolent felons should definitely get their gun rights back upon release from prison. I think violent felons, there's probably a pretty good argument to be made that most of them should as well. And if your argument to me is that they're not safe to be in society, I might agree with you that they shouldn't be in society. And if they're safe enough to be released in society, then let's drop them off outside the governor's mansion and see how fast the laws change.
And if prison isn't working, maybe we should evaluate why.
Look, I continue to say over and over and over.
Instead of just letting more people out, because that's not solving the issue.
I continue to tell people, the minute these people who make these laws are not allowed to live behind their huge walls and their iron gates and their armed guards, and they have to live in society with the rest of us poor bastards and be responsible for their own safety, the laws would change immediately. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the age-old argument about the VA health system. If every sitting member of Congress had to use the VA for their health care, that shit would get overhauled by the end of the weekend.
Well, they would have a separate department for the
Oh,
congressman
damn it, Nick.
alone, and they would get special funding.
Nick, stop it.
because
Stop.
You know that's
I
what would
know it
happen,
is. I
though.
just don't want it to be that way.
Because you know General Mattis does not have the same problem as Private Bumblefuck when he pops over to the VA.
Do you have to do that? Like, do you have to let all the freaking air out of my balloon constantly?
Yes.
Like, Phil, that's a great idea. Oh, what's this? It's called realism.
Yeah. I don't know. My brain just does that. I don't do it on purpose. It's just the natural conclusion of the thought process.
You must drive your wife nuts with it, don't you?
I absolutely do.
I drive my wife nuts with it too, to be perfect.
I drive my in-laws crazy with it sometimes too. When me and my wife were very early in dating, we'd been dating for a while, but I bought a house and I invited her to move in, as you do. And her mom said to me, "Well, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that." And the first words out of my mouth were, "Well, she's an adult, so you really don't get an opinion on the matter, do you?"
So, out of curiosity, did that part of the brain that filters between the brain and the mouth ever develop for you, or were you a late? So you weren't a late bloomer; you were a not bloomer.
No. Yes, I have to work very hard to not just say the next thing that pops into my head.
I've actually created an emotional holding area for all of my ideas, and they all go into there before they get the green light to like go to the mouth.
Work on that. I definitely have to work on
well, that. I've disappointed and frustrated my wife enough times over our 20 years together that I finally started developing it.
My wife seems to enjoy those outbursts from me, and so does most of her family.
See,
which is wild.
If those outbursts were more enjoyed, I probably would have skipped the whole holding area.
I think that's why I don't have one.
Yes, you've reinforced the bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. It's been encouraged.
All right. Well, it is the 18th of December today. A week from today, when we would normally be podcasting, is going to be Christmas Day. And I'm not podcasting on Christmas Day because my wife will make me sleep outside.
Fair enough. At least it's warm where you are.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think the low's like in the high 50s for the next week.
I'm going to have weather between 50 and -5.
That's gross.
Probably bouncing in between. I know tomorrow's supposed to be in like the teens for the high after it was 47 today. And then it's going to be in the mid-40s again the day after.
That's gross.
I don't know. That's just Midwestern winter for you.
Yeah. Anyway, so we are almost certainly going to skip podcasting next week.
But we are not going to skip New Year's Day.
We will not skip New Year's Day. There might be some social media shenanigans over the break. Nick and I are both hopping up and down by the front door waiting for our Vicarians to see if they'll get here before Christmas.
We may have to post a wee update when they do arrive here. Mine will be here Monday.
I have shipping information, but it hasn't moved yet. So
mine has not exited California yet, but that doesn't mean it won't take a plane.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, dude, I've got plates and radios and antennas and 20,000 other things just waiting for a spot to land. So
I stripped my old carrier, making ready for moving things. We're going to see.
I did tell Rebel that if I get a Vicarian by Christmas Day, I will post pictures of me in my Christmas pajamas wearing the plate carrier and a helmet with night vision.
Nice.
That awesome. Will happen.
Morgan wants to know, what did we buy?
All right. So, Morgan, if you go look at our back episodes, either on YouTube, I can see you're on YouTube right now. Probably about 2 months ago now. It would have been early October, late September, maybe. We didn't.
The pre-order tease.
Huh?
The pre-order tease with
yes.
Russell.
So we've actually had Rebel from Rebels Raiders on twice. And Nick ordered a Vicarian, his new plate carrier setup that he's had produced.
And the apothecary
med bag, and I ordered one of each, and I ordered a pair of Gizmo Glider, the sling, the rifle slings. I actually don't need both the rifle slings. I don't really need either one of them because I figured I was going to buy one and keep it on the shelf for the next time I need one. But I actually have a spare, so that might end up being a giveaway type thing.
Ooh.
I was planning ahead.
Nice.
But anyway, so yeah, like if a med bag or tactical gear is in your future, definitely go check out Rebels Raiders. We've talked about him on the show. We have had him on the show as a guest twice. Like, I think he's a really stand-up guy, and he's producing some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, you know, from the little I've interacted with him, he just seems to want to give you a genuinely quality product for a beyond reasonably affordable price for what it is.
Yeah.
Now, I am going to abuse the ever-loving hell out of the things that are currently in shipping, and I'll let you guys know how it holds up. My Ares Armor Derma I've had for 10 years is the nylon is getting to the point where it's starting to come apart like nylon does after so much UV exposure. So if it holds up as well as that thing, I'll be rocking it for the next 10 years or until it falls apart.
One or the other. All right, let's go ahead and roll this one out. It is 8:45 at night. It's a week until the fat guy with the beard shows up, starts hopping down people's chimneys. So if you've been bad, I don't know, make peace with your decisions because you're not changing this late in the year. And if you've been good, let me know how that feels. I usually do hood rat stuff once or twice a year just out of habit. So, you know.
It's really just to stave off the boredom. Like a little minor arson now and then. You have to.
Yeah, it's real hard to be on the good boys list. Sometimes I wind up like, can you have your name on both the naughty list and the nice list?
I believe my wife made one of those lists, and I was on the naughty list.
Okay, well,
the dog I think was also on the naughty list, though.
Probably justified.
High standards she has.
Yep. All right. Matter of fact, it's going out the door. Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you get to spend the holiday the holiday season with your family, with your loved ones, with your pets, by yourself, just not at work and not deal with nonsense. And we will talk to y'all for New Year's.
Next year.
Yeah, it will be next year.
All
right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.